Don't be knowing that lid ain't coming off without that dome gonna come off with it.
I'm so sorry, beautiful. I want this to be gentle. Who is your dialect coach? The Minions? I feel like we are missing critical exposition here.
Gambit is a very powerful X-Men who uses his charm, skills, and powers in really versatile ways. He's pulled off some of the most high-stakes heists in the Marvel Universe, he outsmarted some of the most powerful characters in the X-Men mythos, and you know, the guy's pretty great with the ladies. But what you might not know is that this Cajun wildcard has quietly been flexing and pulling off some of the most powerful feats in all of Marvel Comics. And I really mean it. As a longtime comic book fan, I'm honestly surprised that he was never respected as one of the most powerful X-Men. In this video, I'm gonna go over the Rajun Cajun's most badass comic book moments, and hopefully after watching this video, you'll see why it's finally time to stop sleeping on Remy LeBeau. But before we move on, please be sure to give a like and subscribe to Reverb Comics. You don't want to miss out on our awesome content. Now, I'll briefly go over Gambit's powers and origin story for those who are not familiar. Gambit has the mutant power of molecular acceleration. This means he has the ability to convert potential energy into kinetic energy in any object that he touches. This is just a fancy way of saying that he can make anything that he touches explode. His signature style is charging up playing cards since they're small, light, and easy to throw. But you probably already know that.
Cheap? It's like Pinocchio jammed his face in my ass and started lying like crazy.
Ooh, you nasty, mon beauté rouge. Les bon temps relais, huh?
Not a single word. What do you do exactly?
Charge the playing cards. Make them go boom.
Your power is close-up magic. That's good. We're not totally fucked at all.
What you might not know was that Gambit was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was abandoned at birth because of his demonic eyes. When he was a baby in the hospital, he was kidnapped by the members of the Thieves Guild, who believed that he was the subject of a prophecy. They thought he was Le Diable Blanc because of his demonic eyes. At a young age, Gambit was trained by Jean-Luc LeBeau in thievery, acrobatics, infiltration, and hand-to-hand combat. For centuries, the Thieves and Assassins Guild were rivals until a peace pact was arranged. As part of the peace pact, Gambit was arranged in a marriage with Belladonna Boudreaux, the daughter of the head of the Assassins Guild. But after marrying Belladonna, he was challenged by her brother in a duel. During the fight, Remy killed him in self-defense, which of course sparked a war between the Thieves and Assassins Guilds once again. As a consequence, Gambit was exiled from New Orleans by the Guild to prevent further bloodshed. Gambit was a loner and wanderer until he joined the X-Men. Gambit first appeared in Uncanny X-Men issue number 266 in 1990, where he rescued Storm from the Shadow King. Ever since, he was a key member with the X-Men. Even though Gambit is not typically shown to be an Omega-level mutant like Iceman, Storm, or Magneto, it's worth mentioning that he had some pretty powerful feats. In X-Men Volume 2, issue number 8 for instance, he charges and explodes a large metal structure to trap an enemy. This was pretty significant as it showed that he could destroy large objects if he wanted to. He often bested Wolverine in sparring matches in the Danger Room, he's gone toe-to-toe with expert martial artists like Captain America and Blade, and he temporarily got a big power upgrade when Apocalypse transformed him into his fourth Horseman Death. Under Apocalypse's influence, he was able to kill with a touch and convert pure energy into a death-like force. I got a feeling that we're going to see this version of Gambit in the next season of X-Men 97. Fingers crossed this will come true because this would be the perfect soap opera twist. Now, what's interesting is that the main 616 version of Gambit would have been an Omega-level mutant if it wasn't for Mr. Sinister. In Gambit issue 3 in 1999, it's revealed that Gambit left out a crucial part of his backstory that he kept secret from the X-Men. Before Gambit met the X-Men and after Gambit was exiled from the Thieves Guild, Gambit sought help from Mr. Sinister to help him control his increasingly unstable powers. Sinister agreed and extracted a portion of his brain tissue, reducing his power to safer levels. This is why Gambit has blocks on his full potential. If it wasn't for Mr. Sinister, he'd be way more powerful. Gambit got kicked out of the X-Men for a while for keeping the secret from them. Things got pretty dark as it was revealed that Gambit worked for Mr. Sinister to help assemble the Marauders. Unbeknownst to Gambit, the Marauders went on to slaughter another group of mutants called the Morlocks. He did not know that the Marauders were going to start the mutant massacre, but once he did, he tried and failed to stop them. He did manage to save Marrow, but that might have caused more harm than good as she eventually grew up to be the leader of the mutant terrorist group called G Nation. But anyways, that's besides the point. The point that I'm trying to say here is that Gambit temporarily became an Omega-level mutant when he was kicked off the X-Men. During this time, Remy struck a deal with the being known as the New Sun. Gambit did odd jobs with his new best friend, Jacob Gavin Jr., otherwise known as Courier. And it's during this time that Gambit's powers started to grow substantially. You see, it's implied that Gambit's powers were subconsciously being held back, possibly out of fear that he might become too powerful and hurt someone that he loves. New Sun secretly recruited Fontenelle, a telepathic dreamwalker, to find out if this version of Gambit will become a cosmic threat. Why did New Sun do this, you ask? Well, it's because New Sun is actually an alternate version of Remy LeBeau from Earth 9921, who unlocked the full potential of Gambit's powers, making him a near godlike being. You see, New Sun did not come across a version of Mr. Sinister to suppress his powers. Without Mr. Sinister putting mental blocks in him, he could pretty much do anything. He could charge anything with kinetic energy, including matter at the atomic level, absorb, redirect, or dissipate energy attacks, create massive explosions, warp reality, or manipulate energy on a nuclear level. In New Sun's case, he evolved to the point of time and multiversal travel. Unfortunately for New Sun, he accidentally destroyed his entire planet because he could not control the magnitude of his energy abilities. Hence, he took it upon himself to travel across the multiverse, trying to prevent other versions of himself from reaching that same destructive potential, even if it means killing them. I guess New Sun decided that Gambit had the potential to become a threat, so he decides to kill him. But with the help of Fontenelle, Gambit learns to expand his limits, take off the mental blocks Mr. Sinister put on him, and briefly taps into his potential to fight and hold his own against New Sun. Now, even though Gambit became more powerful, New Sun could still beat Gambit through brute force. So Gambit outsmarted him to win the fight. In their battle, Gambit manages to redirect and overload New Sun's energy, something only possible because of their shared powers. Gambit essentially turns New Sun's power inward, causing a feedback loop that destabilizes him and ultimately destroys the guy. Now, it's unclear to me as to whether or not Gambit just chose to suppress his power levels, or if this event depleted his abilities. I've seen a couple of different sources say different things about this. Personally, I think it's pretty ridiculous that Gambit would just choose to suppress his powers. If the X-Men were in a really tough spot, I'm sure the X-Men would appreciate it if he let loose a bit. But nonetheless, this event did a really great job of showcasing Gambit's Omega level mutant potential. Now, I don't think Gambit could stand toe-to-toe with someone like Franklin Richards. At his full potential, I don't think he can win in a fight against a guy who can create pocket universes. But at his full potential, I do think he can hold his own against Omega level mutants like Magneto, Storm, or Iceman. Even at his normal power levels, he can still pull off some pretty impressive feats. Personally, I was really surprised that he destroyed the Sentinel Prime in X-Men 97. He died while doing it, but still, it was an impressive feat nonetheless. Out of all the X-Men characters, Gambit certainly has an interesting future ahead of him. Like I mentioned before, I highly suspect that Gambit will come back as one of Apocalypse's 4 Horsemen in X-Men 97 Season 2. We all know that Channing Tatum's Gambit will return in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. His future is still pretty uncertain after that, but if I had to guess, I'd say that he'll get a solo live-action project after that. When the X-Men franchise was still with Fox, Channing tried to get his Gambit solo project off the ground, but directors kept on dropping out of the project. And when Disney bought Fox, this of course stalled the development on his Gambit film. Now, it sounds like there's a really great Gambit script lying around somewhere, so who knows? If the superhero industry recovers a bit, we might get a Gambit special presentation on Disney Plus or something like that. The Mutant Saga is of course right around the corner after Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, so I think it's pretty safe to say that fans can expect to see more of Gambit soon. But what do you think? Do you think Gambit's an Omega level mutant? What do you think Marvel should do with the character moving forward? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, thanks a million for watching. Please be sure to give a like and subscribe to Reverb Comics so that you won't miss out on our awesome content. Stay groovy!